Hello, beautiful people. I am so excited for today. So very excited. So first of all, please introduce yourself in the chat. Tell us where you're from. Which part of the world are you in? I would love to know. Canberra, Ontario. Sunny Melbourne. Oh, Tony's on. Hey, Tony, good to see you. Haven't seen you for a while. Jarianne, Melbourne. Swan Hill, Victoria. Awesome. A few Melbournians on. The Goldie. We have the Goldie on board. The plan is eventually to be living half the year in the Goldie and half the year in Adelaide. That's the plan. How's the sound, everybody? Because there is some knocking on the roof there. Is everybody good with the sound? Awesome. And the other thing is that my internet box decided that it was time for it to pass. And so I'm actually connected to, I'm hotspotting on my phone. So if for whatever reason this actually drops out, I will be going back in. So if you drop out, if I drop out, I will be coming back in. So Joy, I haven't seen you for ages, my love, from Texas. Excited to see all of you. Wow, so excited. Okay, so do we have any virgins here? What I mean by that is any people who have not been to this meetup before. Raise your hand, say, I'm a virgin in the chat. If you're a virgin, I'd like to give you a special welcome. Oh, we have a few virgins. Wow. So we have Melissa and Andrea and Katrina, Warren and Christine. You're all virgins. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to get some new energy into the group. So thank you for that. I want to give you a little bit of background about this group and about its mission and about its purpose and why I'm doing this. And we've got Kristen as well as a virgin. Welcome, Kristen. So I've been running this meetup for about 8 years now. I cannot believe it. And every single month I have a meetup. It started live in Melbourne, face-to-face. First we started in Richmond and then it went to Kew. And I was doing a live meetup every single month where I had a different speaker from around the world every single month. Every time somebody flew in to do an event into Australia, they'd call me and say, can I come to your meetup? And I would do about a couple of presentations a year. Other than that, I had different speakers every month. And the original meetup was called Hypnosis Business Success. So for those of you who don't know, my background is hypnotherapy. I'm the founder of HypnoFit, the world's only global hypnotherapy clinic, where we have 20 clinics across the globe. And my mission was all about helping hypnotherapists live the life of their dreams by having a successful business, and they can help the people that they need to help. So it was called Hypnosis Business Success. And then what actually happened was that in July 2021, I had a huge massive spiritual awakening, and it really took my life to a different path, but different but the same, if that makes sense. The same in the sense that the mission is still here to help others in the best way that we can, but I changed the focus from hypnotherapists and therapists to anybody who's ready to be awakened. And so then I called it the Connected Heart. And by that time, of course, COVID had hit. And so we well and truly stayed online since COVID times. So I'm not going back to the face-to-face meetups. This is so much easier. That way everybody gets a recording too. And just so that you know, you don't have to ask for a recording. You will automatically receive a recording. Okay, every single recording, you don't even have to attend to get the recording. You will get a recording if you purchase the meetups. So it stayed online and it will stay online. And so then I called it the Connected Heart, which had more of a spiritual kind of essence to it. And as of this month, I've changed the name again, because everything is changing so quickly in the world at the moment. Consciousness is moving really fast. And so I am holding an anchor as to where I am now. And so this is going to be called the Awakening Formula Series. So this is going to be the new name of this meetup. It's going to be called the Awakening Formula Series, because awakening for me changed my life, changed everything about my life. I went from stress, overwhelmed, and drama to harmony and peace. And that's what I want to bring to the world, and by inspiring people to open their heart, which is really funny because my first book, Mindset Dominance, was all about the mind. And it was all about how we can utilize our mind to achieve whatever we want. And so now I've gone full circle, and it's all about how can we connect into the heart to really, really fast track whatever it is that we desire. And so I have decided that I'm going to change things up a bit in 2023. I'm no longer going to be having different speakers every month. It's going to be me. So I'm going to be presenting every single month, and it's going to be the Awakening series, but underneath that series, there's going to be different topics. So as an example, today I'm going to be doing a deep dive into triggers and beliefs. And for those of you that are therapists, it would be very, very, very useful in terms of how you can help your clients in that area as well. And then next month, I'm going to be talking about ego and all about ego. So the way that it works, if you don't know, is that for the first 48 hours after this event, the ticket's at 15 Australian dollars. It's a lot less for the Americans. For 48 hours, it's $15, and then it goes to $25 after that until the event starts. So that's going to be the format for every single month. I feel that I have so much to bring to you guys, that there's so much to say. Evolution for me is happening every day. I'm having new learnings and new insights that I really want to bring this forward to the group. So yeah, and so in terms of the link to next month's meetup, we'll put that in the chat. There it is there. So if you wanted to book in your ticket, you can just click in there and you can get your ticket for next month, which is only $15, and that's for 48 hours. Next month's topic is going to be the sneaky ego. We're going to talk all about the really, really sneaky ego, because I tell you, it's very clever. The ego is very clever, and what the ego does is it keeps you safe, but it keeps you small. But really, safety is just an illusion. And so I'm going to talk about what it is that the ego does. What is the ego? How does it keep you small? How can you manage it so that you can actually live your life's purpose? So we're going to be talking all about ego next month, which is going to be the March meetup. And because this is a new series with a new flavor and all about awakening to who we are and why we're really here, if you do have any friends, let me know, and I'm happy to give them a free ticket for their first time in. Okay, so just let me know. All right, so I'm really excited about today. What we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be taking you through beliefs and triggers. They're two huge topics. So every meetup, every single month, will go anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes. At the end of it, there will be time for Q&A, which is great. So I will be asking you questions throughout, and unless I say unmute, please don't unmute. Please stick to putting things in the chat. I'm also going to have a demonstration today. So somebody, I don't know who, I never know who, but somebody in the group will put up their hand, and we're going to be doing some work live in front of the whole group. So how does that sound, everybody? Is that good? Yeah. Does everybody like this new format? I'd love, because this is a new format, with me being the presenter every single month, I'd love it if you actually gave me feedback at any time. My email address is eleni@eleniheartleader.com. So is there anybody here who doesn't know my background? Does anybody here who doesn't know anything about me? That helps me to tell you so that I know how much do I need to say before we get into the actual topic. Is there anybody here? Warren. Okay, awesome. Okay, I'll make it brief. I promise. All right. Let me share my pack. Share screen. All right. So first of all, if you could put in the chat as to what your expectations are. What are your expectations about today? Why are you here? Why did you spend your time to come here? Because we know that time is really valuable. Sharianne says learning, but I want to know what. What you want to learn. What do you want to learn? Why are you here? What do you hope to get out of today? Because I want to make sure that my number one priority is always the audience that I'm speaking to walk away thinking, thank God I went and saw that. Thank God I did that. Kristen, it's about shifting beliefs. Awesome. Ooh, Tony, good one. Getting more specific about this technique. Andrea sent me the link. I have just finished my Hypno diploma. I've enjoyed your talks at Hypno Summit. No expectations, just to enjoy myself. Love that, Andrea. My son experienced a program with HypnoFit, which helped him immensely. Yay. So I wanted to see what I can also learn about myself and where I can be more effective. Wow, I love that. I love that, Warren, that you took that situation with your son and you automatically saw the reflection in you. That speaks volumes, because every exchange that we have with any human is all about, well, what does this actually mean for me? Where's the reflection? What's going on? Bringing unhelpful beliefs forward. Been experiencing awakening over the last few years, and I'm interested in your knowledge as you've already been authentic. Oh, thank you, Katrina. Because of the title of the series. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. I love it. I love it. So many different reasons. And it's all about awakening to who you are, why you're really here. And by doing that, you can, if you have clients and if you're a therapist, you can help them as well. So awesome. I'll go back to my presentation. So my mission is all about inspiring you to exit the matrix. And what do I mean about the matrix? It's this three-dimensional world that we live in, where there's a lot of stress and there's a lot of drama. And I want to activate the remembrance of who you really are and why you're really here. That's my overarching mission in terms of this whole series. And ultimately, when you do that, when you connect to who you really are and why you're really here, you end up living a life beyond your wildest dreams. I literally pinch myself every single day. You know, it's interesting that people talk about gratitude as something that, you know, to start doing for, 5 minutes a day or just before you go to sleep. I literally live in gratitude. I literally do. I am so blown away by the magic that this human experience is, but it wasn't always like that. It wasn't always like that. So for those of you who don't know, my journey started over 30 years ago. I keep needing to change the numbers because the time's getting on. 30 years ago, when I experienced depression and chronic anxiety. And at that point, I needed to do a search within to find out who I really was and what was really happening. And from that point, I ended up becoming a hypnotherapist and started my clinic in Bulleen. So in Bulleen in Melbourne. And we've got now the clinic in Bulleen in Melbourne is run automatically. In fact, there's 2 HypnoFit staff here on this call today. Yay, 2 new staff, Sherry-Ann and Corinne, who have started with HypnoFit. And Corinne is actually doing full circle because she was also, Warren, just like your son, Corinne was a client quite a while ago, and she was so inspired by the process that she became a hypnotherapist. So it's just really, really beautiful to see that everything goes full circle. And so really, for me, once I realized that there had to be something else, what I found I was doing was helping my former self. So I ended up helping people who had experienced depression and had experienced anxiety. And that gives you clarity for the next step and the next step and the next step. So with people try and find their purpose, the purpose is where you are right now. That's your purpose, where you are right now and what's calling you right now, because it's exactly where you need to be. And then when you're open to stepping up, you can just watch the miracles unfold. And that's how the results happen. So I talked about a spiritual awakening. This is actually a magical location in country Victoria where I had a spiritual awakening back in July 2021 in that teepee. It doesn't look that big, but have a look at the seat. That's the bench that's a few feet away, and you can see the size of it. It's really huge. And what unfolded was that I became aware that I stepped into a different dimension. So for those of you who this is a bit woo-woo, don't worry about it. If it's too woo-woo and it's like, what is going on here? Like, I don't believe any of this crap. Don't worry. It's not important whether you believe it or you don't believe it. It's all about the message. So if the message resonates, the message resonates. If it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. So that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how I got there. Okay. So what actually unfolded was that I was shown that my life was really just a stage, and the curtains opened up and I saw everything from a different perspective. I saw all the scenes that had played out, all the scenes of my life. I saw that I started off being depressed and anxious, and on the left-hand side, that's me wearing a full-blown girdle as I'm trying to push in my stomach, and I was feeling uncomfortable, unhealthy, and overweight. And then what I did was use my mind to achieve things I never imagined, like becoming a runner and running in events and all the rest of it, something I never thought was possible and only people from other planets did. And then I opened my clinic in and I'm saying this very fast because I don't want to use this whole session talking about myself. I'm saying this very, very fast. So this is an actual client at Bulleen when I started being a hypnotherapist and helping people like myself who had suffered from anxiety and depression. I wrote my book, Mindset Dominance, ended up, because the process I was using was so incredibly effective, ended up teaching 4,000 hypnotherapists now across the globe. That's in Chicago, where I was doing a keynote speech. And to my absolute surprise, I was awarded Hypnotist of the Year 2018 by the Mid-America Conference in Chicago. I was so shocked that for once I was lost for words. I actually did not say anything apart from the words, thank you, because I couldn't breathe. I was not expecting that this Aussie girl was going to be given this award from my American colleagues, because it was a peer nominated award. Ended up opening the world's only global hypnotherapy clinic with hypnotherapy clinics across the globe. So we have HypnoFit partners in the UK, Canada, United States, New Zealand, and Australia, and realized that all of that, although it appears as if they are, achievements, I realized that it was just a part that I was playing. And it was just a role that I had. And it was, and I did all that under the name of Helen Midas. And that's why my book is, the author's there is Helen Midas. And that was the identity. My website's Helen Midas. My brand was Helen Midas. Everybody in the hypnotherapy profession knew me as Helen Midas. And I realized that Helen Midas was the identity. It was the actress that I was playing. And even though it felt very authentic, I held a lot of beliefs that were not supporting me. And the beliefs that were not supporting me were that I had to keep achieving, I had to keep doing, I had to keep working, which led to a lot of stress, overwhelm, exhaustion, sickness, you name it. So yes, by working really hard, I achieved a lot. But I realized that it didn't have to be that way, that I really wasn't stopping to smell the roses. And even though I did enjoy my life, and I would say that when I played hard, and it was, work hard, play hard kind of mentality, it didn't have to be like that. So let's get back to beliefs, because underlying every drama that plays out in our life, underlying every stress situation, underlying every fear we have, it's ultimately because we believe something to be true. And so why is it important to release our limiting beliefs? Because they stop us from accessing our desires. They are blocking our natural manifesting capabilities. So we're the ones that, it's interesting with this law of attraction and this manifesting talk, that it's how to manifest and how to, attract everything to yourself. Basically, it's about removing the blocks. You're already a natural manifesting machine. You're already divine. You're already in a place where you can achieve anything you want. It's just that the blocks are in the way, because we have created these blocks. Where from? We'll get to that in a minute. But they also cause us to stop receiving, which is feminine energy, what will naturally flow to us, and they will stop us from taking action, which is masculine energy. So there's not, with masculine energy and feminine energy, you don't need to be a female to have only feminine energy or a male to have masculine energy. This needs to be a perfect harmonic balance of both feminine and masculine in all of us. But with me, because I was doing, achieving, what do you think? What kind of energy do you think I was actually holding on to the most? Do you think it's masculine or do you think it's feminine? Put it in the chat. What is it? Masculine or feminine? Feminine is about using your intuition. It's about receiving. It's about being. And the masculine is about doing. Proving, doing. Absolutely right. Where I was all about the masculine. I was out of balance. I was misaligned. And so when you're misaligned, your natural manifesting capabilities are slower because they keep getting blocked. And so how are limiting beliefs created? Two ways. One way is trauma, and the second way is programming. So when we say trauma, there's a misconception in the community as to what this means. Trauma doesn't necessarily mean that you fought in a war and you now have to deal with the trauma because you've dealt with killing other soldiers or killing other people, or it doesn't necessarily mean that you had to have been sexually abused or whatever. This is what people think trauma is. Trauma is any unresolved emotion that you are carrying in the body from anything. Sometimes people, clients get so surprised and shocked that their trauma was actually something that they perceived to be insignificant. It could have been from an event in the school ground where they were bullied, and they've carried that for the rest of their life. They've carried that, the meaning of that, for the rest of their life. They've attached some sort of meaning to that, which is, I am unworthy because these kids are singling me out. And we often see that with our beautiful children that come to see us and adolescents that come to see us at HypnoFit as well, that we create these meanings from these events. And programming could be anything. Programming could be what a teacher told you once at school. It could be what your parents have taught you by example, just by looking at them. For example, for me, my biggest program is the overwork program. My mother is 91 years old, and she is the busiest 91-year-old you would ever meet. Like literally when I ring her up to say hello, she says, I'm too busy. She's too busy. She's too busy. She cannot relax. That's the environment that I grew up in. And my siblings are like that. My whole family is like that. It's taken me a very long time to shed that layer, and there's still elements of it, but I've done really, really well to let go of the belief that I have to work hard in order to get success. The belief that this is the only way to live, that it has to be work, work, work. So let's identify your stories. Let's identify what your stories are about beliefs. They could be anything. It could be, I'm not worthy to receive, I'm not good enough, I'm not safe to receive all that I desire, life is not safe to surrender to, I can't trust life, it's a struggle to stay afloat, I'm always going to worry about something, I have a resistance to stepping into abundance, I'm angry about stepping into abundance, I have to prepare for the worst, it's too much work to succeed. The beliefs do not end. And believe me, this is funny, believe me about beliefs, that when you think that you've knocked them all out of the park, the universe is going to show you another one that you've got, and another one, and another one. The layers they just keep going. They just keep going. We have deep programming from society about what should be done, what we should do, how we should look, how we should achieve, what kind of a house we should have, what kind of a car we should have, what kind of clothes we should wear. So think about all the pressure that society has about what we should do. And then we hold these beliefs about whether we match up to that ideal or not. And of course, there is no ideal. It's just an illusion. So what I'd like to do now is, Tony, you said you don't need to unmute yet, but I just want to give you as an example. You said that, you know, you find that you have your own blocks about limiting beliefs and what they are. And so I'm going to give you a really quick, valuable way of identifying your limiting beliefs. So I'm going to ask you two questions, and this is a very, very quick way of identifying what your limiting belief is. So the first question is, what do you desire? I want you to put it in the chat. So this is an opportunity to be open, and there's nothing bad. Our desires are not bad. So there's no right, there's no wrong. It's, oh, why do you desire that? That's superficial. What do you desire? What do you desire? Put it in the chat. What do you desire? Tony, to buy a home. Warren, a home, a stable home. What else? From everybody else. Remember, this is the year of getting real. No more pretending like, oh, I don't want to say that because then I look like, again, that's the image. A thriving grief coaching business. Beautiful. Joy. What else? What are your desires? What do you desire? When you think about, oh, I really love to have a loving relationship. Kristen, thank you for your honesty. To be resonant with all living beings, including dimensionally. How do I say that word? Cross-dimensionally. To be resonant with all living beings, including cross-dimensionally. Beautiful, Sharianne. Loving relationship, a new life partner. To feel true joy after years of burnout. I'm from an emotionally inhibited background and I'm working hard to get in touch with my authentic self. Yeah, you're in the right place, Andrea. You are in the right place, my love. This is the place to be. I desire an easeful hypnotherapy business that supports people and keeps my family in financial abundance, to create a prosperous business, financial abundance, as I resist it and I avoid it. Interesting. Megan, financial freedom to provide for family, doing what I love as a trauma recovery coach. Beautiful. To be financially free from worry and unconditional peace. I love it. Unconditional. Yeah, I really did not understand the word unconditional until I had my spiritual awakening, because without realizing it, we place conditions on everything. Without realizing it, we place conditions on everything. Even when we think we give unconditional love to our children, what do we expect back? What do we expect back? Do we expect respect back? Do we expect love back? If you expect anything back, it's conditional. Anything at all. If you would get hurt because your child doesn't show something to you, that's conditional. To be financially free from worry and anxious peace. Oh yeah, just said that. All right. So now the second question is, which will reveal your limiting belief. The second question is, why can't you have it? Why can't you have it? Because why? Why can't you have it? Sharianne, tell me more in the chat. You're with the one word, girl. You don't like doing the sentences. Too busy doing. Yeah, Warren, that was me. That was me. Too busy doing to actually be. In the doing and the doing and the doing, fear of being rejected. It costs too much. Yeah. And so the belief under that, Tony, is what? It costs too much to relate to you. I can't what? I'm not worthy. Yeah. The belief of all beliefs, Jackie, you've got to the bottom of all beliefs. Christine, because I'm scared to work too much and burn out again. So the belief, Christine, there's a belief there. And the belief there is, I need to work hard to attain success. That's the belief. So write that down somewhere at home. That is actually your belief, because I used to have the same belief. I need to work really hard to have success. Beautiful, Sharianne. I spend and reward myself and family. Yeah, but what's the underlying belief of that? Because there's nothing wrong with spending and rewarding yourself and your family. Why can't you have what you have, Katrina? So there's a belief underneath that. Cecilia, lacking of self-awareness and necessary tools. Cecilia, just the fact that you said that you lack self-awareness shows that you have awareness. I'm going to just say that again, because that's really important. Just the fact that you said that you lack self-awareness shows you have awareness. Otherwise, you wouldn't know that you lack self-awareness. Does that make sense? You actually have awareness. Megan, my needing to be perfect at all the things I care about leads to inaction or confusion on focus points. Yeah. Absolutely. And again, that's the program of having to be perfect. I have to be a certain way. And of course, being perfect means it's like a dog chasing its tail. You can't do it. It's impossible. It's impossible until we release all attachments, because we are perfect. If we only knew that we're trying to be something we already are, but we're blocking it. I don't know enough to succeed. Beautiful limiting belief. Love it. Diane, I would have to take off my invisibility cloak. Interesting, Diane, because if you take off your cloak, what's underneath? Andrea, my underneath belief is that I don't deserve to rest. Again, that goes to the worth, the worthiness. I'm not worthy of resting. The belief is that other people just know how to make businesses successful, but not me. Because I'm not whatever. It could be I'm not, I don't understand money, because I don't know how to run a business, because I'm not disciplined. There's actually something else to put Corinne for your own purposes. There's a because there. There's a because. So for those of you who are therapists and you ask questions, the magic is to take it to the next level. Whatever answer that the client gives you, you take it next level. What's the next level? When we keep going, what's the why? What's the next why? All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to do a little exercise now with somebody's belief. And then we're going to move on to triggers. And we're doing like a real snapshot here to fit as much as we can in these 90 minutes. So who would like to have a chat with me? We're just going to have a chat. I'm not going to do any hypnosis or anything like that in this session with a limiting belief. Tony, you got your hand up first, so unmute yourself. Hey, Tony, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.
It's been a while.
A couple of months, not that long.
Ah.
Yeah.
But well, it's been a while since I've seen you in person.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Okay. All right. So tell me about your limiting belief.
So the thing, I would like to buy a home, and a comfortable home. And when you said limiting belief, it costs too much. But so I've just been thinking about that. It's like I don't have time. I don't have enough. I'm not really, like, both of those things seem true to me.
Well, this is the thing about limiting beliefs. They are actual beliefs, which means you think they're true.
Yeah.
Okay, so they seem true until they're dislodged. So the story that you give yourself is that you don't have the time to do what?
To make money.
So tell me more about having the time to make money.
So I'm 51 years old. We have probably enough money for a deposit, but because of my age, borrowing money, I'm quite limited in that, because my working life, I don't have, like, the bank would look at me and say, probably don't have enough working life left in me.
And is that something that you know is true for sure?
No.
Okay. So that's a story that you've concocted, that I'm 51 years old. And this is like,
true.
I'm 51 years old. I don't have much time left.
Yeah.
And and even if I do have a lot of time left, the bank's going to think I don't. And so this is the story that you've concocted. So the first thing we do is we need to observe the story. The greatest thing you can do about stories is be in the seat of the observer. So observe your stories, like actually observe your stories, which is, what story am I actually bringing up in this moment? And it's interesting with me, Tony, like I literally now, because I'm always in the observer seat, as soon as I say something or think something, I went, oh, that story. So I instantly connect that it's a story. And once you connect that it's a story, you then dissociate from being the character in that movie. So now it's a movie and you're watching the story, as opposed to being in there and actually believing that you are that character. So actually believing, so it'd be like Tom Cruise actually believing he is that character in Mission Impossible with all the things that go on there. It's actually believing that, because you are not that. This is just an identity. And so observe it. That's the first thing that I would want you to do, is to hear those stories and watch those stories. Don't judge it. This is the trick. Don't judge yourself for having a story, because this is the construct of society, is that we're deeply programmed to believe these stories. Don't judge it, observe it. And once you start observing it, then you can question it. So number 2 would be to question it. Question, is this really true? How do you know it's true? How do you actually know that it's true? And you said you don't. It's just a story. And so now, in order to release the story, you need to create a new one. And of course, this is just pre-talk at this point. If you're a therapist, there would be work that you would need to do in the chair. But what is the new story, Tony?
There's plenty of time and there's plenty of money.
Yeah. Now, when you say that, how does that feel energetically? Because it's a new story.
Yeah.
And new stories, sometimes they feel a bit, it's almost like putting on a new outfit.
Yeah.
It feels a bit, oh, this doesn't fit. Like my old story fits really well.
Yeah.
But this new story, can't really fit into this outfit. So with this new story, how does that fit?
Like when I first said it, it seemed fine. But then when I thought about the seeming reality of it, it became less of a fit.
Because the story keeps coming back, which is the ego self. Okay. The ego self comes back and says, don't listen to her. You know, that's not the truth. This is the truth. Okay. That's the ego self. That's the identity. So the new story is, say it again.
There's plenty of time and there's plenty of money.
Yeah. And how do you actually hold that as a truth for you? What do you think you need to do in order to actually hold that as a truth for you? Because there's 2 things you've mentioned there, time and money. Yeah. So let's look at time first. How do you get something? Anything, how do you get it?
With time, I don't know, it's just there all the time.
It's there all the time? Absolutely. Yeah. So what do you need to do with that time to show yourself that there's plenty of it?
Okay. What do I need to do is, this is challenging. I notice that it's there.
Yeah. What else? So this is what happens. Think about this with time. Yeah. Just say there's a minute and you've got a minute to get a certain car park to get to a certain place. How quickly is that minute going to go?
It's going to take 1 minute.
Yeah, but how quickly is it really going to feel?
Oh, it's going to feel quite rushed.
It's going to feel very rushed. Yeah. Why? Because you're rushing.
Yeah.
You're rushing. Now, yesterday, I had to do a friggin' plank at the gym for 1 minute. How long do you think that minute took?
About 10.
It took a long time. It was like, my God, is this minute ever going to end? Like, seriously. So the way you relate to time is the way time relates to you. So what do you need to do to slow down time?
Slow down my thinking, slow down.
Okay, you've got to slow down. And believe me, this is coming from someone who literally could never walk anywhere. I had to run. When I used to work in corporate, I worked in corporate for 22 years. I used to run to the printer like someone was chasing me. Even when I was presenting like across the globe, people would say, and I would run like this. I remember at HypnoThoughts in Vegas, I would run to go to the next thing. And like, is something wrong? Are you okay? No, this is what I do. I run. So I used to run everywhere because there's time. Time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. So I live my life by running everywhere. And so slowing it right down has been my biggest gift, like slowing it right down. So now my mornings are no longer, I'm going to jump out of bed and run to the next thing. It's like, really, really feeling my body. Like start with the simple things, Tony, like feel your body in the bed and start to notice your eyes. You know how to do this for your clients. Do this for yourself. Your shoulders, your arms, your legs. Now, before I open my eyes, I put my hands in front, open my eyes behind my hands, and then slowly open my eyes. And I'm finding there is so much time. It's because I have slowed down time. Time is just a construct. It doesn't really exist. It's an illusion. So when you slow down, everything slows down. This is why we have accidents. People are not present. People are somewhere else. People are thinking about something else, and then they're not concentrating or focusing on just relaxing into the moment. And so time is your first thing that you need to slow down. To get more time, you need to slow down. It sounds like it's ridiculous. How can I get more time by slowing down? Just start trying this and you will find that you've got time. Start to move slower. Start to notice, be the observer. Where do you spend your time? Where do you spend your time? Where is time spent that is not of high service to you? Okay. In this era of so many distractions, there are distractions that everybody has that it's not their highest calling to be distracted the way they are. Okay. When you start watching yourself, you start changing things. Like for me, I let go of Netflix years ago. I don't have a television. I don't watch the news. And there's so many things that I've saved time for. Like there's so many areas where I've given myself so much time. So that's the first thing. And the next thing is money, and it's your relationship with money. And money is a bigger issue. And I'm going to do like a whole thing on money for one of the Awakening series. But, you know, when you actually resist something, that's when it doesn't come to you, because money flows to all of us. It's energy, so it just flows, but we stop it with our belief system, and our belief system is that there's not enough of it. Okay, so what I would invite you to do, Tony, is with these two things, which is time and money, is get into the observer. Yep. And question everything. Become the observer of your life and question it all. Is that really true? That there's no time? I used to give this example to my clients when I was practicing hypnotherapy. And I remember at the time Obama was president of the United States. And one thing I knew about him was that when he was in residence, every single day he did 90 minutes exercise. And I would say to my clients, do you think you're busier than him? Because I would say that when they said the no time, the no time excuse. And he also would make it a point to have dinner with his family every single night when he was in residence, no matter what. So do you think you're busier than him when you've got no time to connect to your partner or whatever? So it's an illusion, and you know that. And I'm sure you would say the same things with your clients. So now it's about being the observer of you and really slowing down. How does that feel?
Yeah, good. It's lighter.
Yeah. We carry a lot. We really carry a lot. There's a lot that we carry. There's so much programming that we all have. And money is one of the bigger ones. And I will definitely do one of my events will definitely be on money under the Awakening series, because it's a big one, and it's one that I had to let go of. Like I had to physically let go of income streams that I no longer felt resonance with, even though they were doing really well. So I had to do that for my own soul's purpose. But the ego was saying, but where are you going to get the money from then? Like, what are you going to do? And my soul had to be like, it's fine. I'm provided for. Everything is fine. You've just got to relax into it. And so letting go of all my income or most of my income streams when they're doing well is really hard for the ego to grasp, because this is not a logical thing. But it's time for us to wake up to what's the truth and what's the illusion, because the illusion is the stress and the drama, and the truth is to follow our heart and to really trust that this is not all there is. There's more than that, and you are taken care of, especially when you're living your life's purpose like you are, Tony. Beautiful. Thank you so much for jumping on to have this discussion. Did everybody find that useful, that discussion? I'm sure that you all resonated with Tony's story. Put in the chat if there's anything that you would like to say to Tony, not from a guidance point of view, but for his courage, for stepping in and coming in, and whether that resonated with you or whether you could relate. That would be really good, because this is what we need to do. We need to actually have the courage to be seen. So that's what Tony did just then. He had the courage to be seen. We have to have the courage to be seen for who we really are and understand there is nothing that we need to hide. Absolutely nothing. Yay, there's appreciation going on in the chat there for you, Tony. So have a look. All right. I do want to say, as we get through this, because there's a lot that I need to get through in today's session, that right at the very end of this session, I am going to give you a really incredible offer about the system that I have come up with since my awakening, which you can use with your clients, literally word for word. That's very affordable. So the whole session, what do you do? What do you say? What are the questions? What do you do in trance? What's the session look like? And there's a demonstration with that as well. I think it's, is it 6 or 8 modules? I think it is. And a book comes with that as well. So I'm going to give that to you right at the end. So next I want to look at triggers. Now, triggers are our greatest gift. They are our greatest gift. I'll give you an example of a trigger that happened for me at the beginning of COVID. And this is where I saw myself, and it was very valuable. So I had thought that I was fine. I had worked through all my stuff. I had released everything. and I don't get triggered, and I don't judge because I've seen thousands of clients, and, you know, I'm really good at not judging. And I always provide this safe space for clients, which I do. And therefore, I don't judge anybody in the world. I'm good. What a gift COVID was in that sense, because it showed us a part of ourselves that was so hidden that we didn't have to show and that we didn't even know about. So when COVID started, so now I want to say I'm in no camp, but when COVID started, I will willingly say I was in the camp of science, which is you've got to have the vaccine, you've got to have the jab, you've got to do this, you've got to do this the right way, da, 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 da. And then I started looking at everybody who didn't think that way and judging them and thinking, oh, like, how ignorant are you? And I was really appalled and shocked that I was actually holding these thoughts about these people that I was judging. And then what I was doing was judging the people that were judging. So if somebody went on social media and said, oh, you're just all sheep, as an example, I would judge that person for being so judgmental. And then the other camp was, well, you're just so silly, you're just so ignorant. I would judge those people for being so mean to those people. So I was judging both sides. So for me, everybody was nasty, and I couldn't believe how people were speaking to each other. I couldn't believe there was some friends that I had from high school, and there was a close friend of boys that had been friends all these years, and they decimated each other because half of them believed one story and the other half believed the other story. So I had to face my demon and say, wow, I'm holding this judgment of people that I didn't think that I held. And I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, that's not me. That is not me. Take this away from me. This is not me. This is not me to say that anybody is better or worse or smarter or not as smart because they hold a particular view. And it was really incredible to watch. Like, the way that it happened was I put this post up on that was really upset and distressed on Facebook. And then within 2 hours, I deleted it and had to really look at myself and go, wow, where did that come from? Where did that trigger come from? That was a massive trigger. Where was that trigger? And I worked through it, released it, realized that it wasn't really about that situation, but it was about something that happened a lot earlier. So our triggers are revealing what we're still holding on to. And that was the gift that COVID is showing us, the world that we live in. Because the way that you react to certain situations, it doesn't matter which side of the equation you're on. And truly now I am neutral in that perspective because I've worked through it. It doesn't matter which side of the equation you are on. If you're holding judgment in your heart, that is divisive energy. And so triggers are your greatest opportunity for evolution. It was for me. And when I look at a trigger now and I feel myself getting triggered, instantly I become the observer and observe myself as to what's going on with me. What's really happening? Where did that come from? So I'll give you another example. This happened, I was doing a live, I think, because I have completely changed my life. I now live on the ocean. And I was walking down the beach and I put a post up that said, I can't believe this is my backyard. Because it literally is. There's no streets between me and the ocean. This is what I always wanted. And I received a text message back from somebody who follows me and said, you're just a brat. And I got triggered. Like, that really affected me, that he was calling me a brat, because for me, like, I worked my ass off to do what I needed to do, and you're calling me a brat. And this is a free beach. Like, it's not my private beach. Like, anybody can have this beach. You know what I mean? It's not something I own, and this is available to all of us. It's just that I made choices. That's all. It's available to all of us to have this beach. And I went into this defensive mode, and then I did a live on it when I was that angry, because that's the kind of person I am. I sort of put my heart on my sleeve and I say everything as it happens. I did a live on it, talking about being called a brat, understanding that it is a trigger, but not working out yet where the trigger came from. And my partner came home and he said, oh, I saw your live. What was the trigger of that? Where did that come from? And I went, well, I thought about it and now I know. And it was in year 9 when me and my friends were pouring water on each other during lunchtime when it was a really hot day in Melbourne. And one of the teachers walked out and she said, you and your friends, you're just brats. And this particular teacher was biased against ethnic girls. So she was only nice to the Aussie girls, and she was very, very nasty to the girls that had an ethnic background. And it came from that. So somebody used the same word that this person had used, and I felt the injustice of it all, because I considered myself always to be a kind girl. And so that was something that I had to work through, knowing what, that was a trigger that really impacted me. So I want to work with somebody now, other than Tony, because Tony's already had his go, who has a trigger to work through. I want to transmute the trigger. And so really the way to think about this is your most recent trigger. Your most recent trigger, there's a pot of gold there that is going to help you so much. Your most recent trigger. Andrea, yay. I love the way you put your hand. You were like, do I want to put this hand up? Go down.
Look, I was trying to think what the trigger was in my head. I've got a sort of set of general triggers, but I have remembered one, if you want to know.
I'd love to know.
Okay, so my partner, I've said in the chat, something I'm trying to overcome is a background of emotional inhibition and trying to get in touch with my authentic self so I can feel joy and just know that I'm on the right path, etc. The partner that I've chosen, who I've been with for 2 years, is also quite emotionally inhibited. And it's really great that I've got a lot of tools from learning how to be a hypnotherapist. So I work sort of on him / with him very gently and every day. But I've noticed that he triggers me out of the water like no one else. And
of course, that's what our partners are there for.
yes,
The greatest evolution we can have is with our intimate partners.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it occurred to me a couple of nights ago, I had an extremely bad sleep, and he said to me in the morning, don't sleep in the day, because he thinks that sleeping in the day, napping will cause me to not sleep the next night. And I'm like, no, I'm burnt out. I could sleep 12 hours at night. I could have a nap in the day and I'd still sleep. I had insomnia. It was a different thing. It was caused by something else. So every time he questions my deservingness of rest, which is my main trigger, that's when I get really triggered. So it all comes down to the same sort of thing.
Awesome. And so tell me when this particular last time, this situation where he said to you, no, don't go for a sleep now. Yeah. So as you remember that, how do you feel?
Really annoyed, and I've said it's sort of maybe slightly gaslit, in as much as I've said to him previously, I'm burnt out, I need naps, I need a full night's sleep, I don't like to have too much blue light. He annoys me when he watches YouTube in bed just before we go to sleep. So I feel
annoyance. Annoyance is what's coming, what you said. That's the first thing you said, annoyed. And annoyance is a low level, it's on the anger hierarchy. So annoyance and frustration is anger. And so when you feel that annoyance, where in the body do you feel it?
In the chest somehow.
In the chest. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what I want you to do, it's just going to be a couple of seconds. I just want you to close your eyes. And I want you to put your hand on that part of the body that feels that annoyance. And now I want you to breathe. Just really find your breath, breathing in, holding it for 2 at the top and just breathing out. Just taking a few deep breaths, breathing in, holding it and breathing out. Good. And now keeping your eyes closed, Andrea, I want you to allow that part of the body to speak. I want you to allow that part of the body to say something. What does it need?
It says, for God's sake, just have a nap.
Yeah, just have a nap. But I want that part of the body to actually go even deeper and get to the annoyance with your husband. And what does that part of the body want to say? Because it needs to be heard. So what does it need to say? There's something there that it needs to say.
It says that I need to believe in myself and the things that I know that I need, regardless of what other people tell me.
Very valuable.
Because I know that this rest thing, some of the things you've said today are so resonant, the running to the printer, etc. I'm one of those people, and I'm from a background where my parents really overworked, regardless of the fact that, yes, my mum is also retired, but extremely busy.
Yeah. So what else does that body need to say about that business, that story, that busyness? What does the body need to say about that? Allow that part of the body just to speak and say what it needs to.
It's all just inauthentic. It's just a story.
It's just a story. So what does it need? Because it needs to speak. Even though it's a story, it's still a story that it held on to. So it's got a right to speak. And what does it need to say?
It's hard to think. It's like Tony, when Tony said it was challenging. I'm at that stage now.
So I want you to get out of your head.
Okay.
You're getting out of your head. This is not a thinking exercise, Andrea. This is a feeling exercise. I want you to feel that resistance in your breast, in your chest. Just feel that frustration and that resistance and that annoyance. When somebody tells you can't rest because then you're not going to be able to sleep, it's not time to rest. I want you to feel that in your chest, and I want you to feel into it. That part of the body needs to say something. It needs to express itself. It doesn't need to be shut down and say it's just a story. It needs to express itself. What does it need to say?
it wants to be heard. It wants
Beautiful.
to be with.
Tell me more.
That's something that I've really been struggling with, connecting with my body. It's, even though I know that I should be doing stretches every day, or not should in the sense of feeling that that's programming, but just knowing that that would be a good thing for me. But my body is always pushed to the back of the queue. It wants to be prioritized.
It wants to be prioritized. So let that part say something now about being prioritized.
If you prioritize me, the rest will flow.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What else?
It's been too long.
Yeah. What else?
Achieving that connection isn't actually that far away, like it is achievable. So just stop resisting it. And if I did take that action, then my issue with intuition would probably resolve as well. I've got some fears around my intuition, which is very strong usually, but I'm blocking it, and it's probably all comes back down to the body.
Yeah. What else?
Well, I'm starting to feel a bit lighter just working through this.
Yes, you are, because it's got a voice now. What else?
Yeah, it's starting to make me feel quite emotional.
Let it flow. Just let it flow. It needs to come out. Beautiful.
That's where the joy is. It's in there hiding.
It certainly is. It's beautiful.
That's quite amazing, actually. It's connected up all of the issues and stories that I have. Basically all comes back down to the same thing.
And what's that?
That well, consciously I can say that it's that I don't give myself the chance to connect with my body. I've been hating on my body. But if I feel into it, it's that I've never loved my body. I've never given it a chance.
Wow.
Yeah, it's time to live in my body and instead of my head.
Yeah. Beautiful. So what commitment are you going to give to the body?
Oh, I've got some ideas lined up of classes I'm going to go to that I think I'll enjoy, but I've got a load of things that I have always said I would do, like stretching every day, meditating every day, trying to get into my body, maybe even running, which I used to quite like. So again, your running example is resonant. But I think I need to commit to something that I can commit to, something in a small commitment that I definitely show up for.
I wonder if a small commitment can possibly be that, for a start, that you're just going to listen.
Right.
I don't know. How does that feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels good. I just, yeah, if I even just take 5 minutes every day to just listen and make that my meditation practice, because I get too wound up in what am I trying to achieve through meditation rather than just listening. So, okay, that's going to be what I do now. 5 minutes a day, and with the view that that expands in time, just see what's in my body.
So I just want you to really just give thanks. It doesn't have to be out loud. It can be inside you, to that part of you that has given you a very powerful message today. And pass the gratitude and the thanks. And when you're ready, take a big deep breath, and then just open your eyes when you're ready.
I can see you all through some tears now. Thank you.
Beautiful. That was beautiful, Andrea. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Being vulnerable and really showing everybody what it's like what happens when you actually get into your heart. So at the beginning, you're in your head. That's not where the magic happens. When we try and be logical and analytical and we think we've got to drop here, we've just got to drop here. And really that's what the next meetup is all about. It's all about the ego, because the ego keeps you here. But we need to be here because this is where the magic is. And that's how the magic unfolds. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful message that you've given everybody else. I'd love everybody to give some thanks to Andrea in the chats and give her some love. Thank you so much, my love, for coming forward. And how does it feel now? How do you feel?
Yeah, I was really amazed that I had a moment where that joy came through, and sorry, you've really got me. It's a feeling I haven't felt in ages, and it's the feeling I've been looking for, and just to know that it's right there and it's not that far under the surface, it's
right there.
Amazing. I find it incredible that you can do so much work on yourself, like 3, 4, 5 years of solid work for me, and I'm still battling with this.
So I want you to see it not as a battle, but as an unfolding.
Yeah.
And they're the layers. They're the layers that we need to release. So it's not a battle. It's not like, oh, why is that still there? Because that's judgment. And that puts another layer on. So it's like, oh, interesting. Oh, another layer there. Okay, that's cool. Like no judgment. We all have layers. And that's what we're called to do now. So you've got some beautiful love in the chat. So make sure that you read all of that. And thank you so much, my love, for sharing your heart with us.
Thank you, Eleni. It's my great privilege to be chosen. Thank you very much.
Thank you for stepping up. stepping up. Absolutely. All right. So before we get into Q&A, everybody, is it possible for everybody to put their camera on so we can take a group photo? Can everyone put their camera on so we can all say hello? So we can see your beautiful faces, even if you're wearing pajamas, it doesn't matter. Look at it. Oh, hey, Mercedes, good to see you, my love. All right, so if we can all just put our camera on and let's just say hello, like a yay. Awesome, thank you for that. All right, so what we're going to do now is, that was beautiful. Thank you so much, Andrea. That was lovely. Thank you so much, Tony. It was incredible. What we're going to do is we're going to go to Q&A, and I'm going to open the floor to any questions at all that you might have. But before we do that, I am going to give you an amazing offer that is available for 48 hours. It really is incredible. So I have got Drop Your Clients Limits mini course, which is just incredible. And it takes you word for word what you do with your clients from the beginning of the session to the end of the session, and there's no guesswork and there's magical results. I have a demonstration there so you can see the full demonstration, how I did it in real life. There's a link there, and I'm going to give you 50% discount for 48 hours only. So there's a link. So if you want to grab it from the chat, and I'll give you the discount code. The discount code is, it's all capitals, it's HypnoFit -50. So it's 50% off. Let me see if I can copy and paste that. And it really is incredible. Like I said, this is an addition to the incredible HypnoFit work. It's got a real spiritual essence, but not too woo-woo. So it's not woo-woo, it's just magical. There's the code there that you can put in, and it's a very reasonable rate. So it's usually $997. I think that's US. I'm not sure. I think it's US, but it's going to be 50% off. So it's very, very reasonable. And it's really magical, and it will blow your clients away, because underneath all behaviors are limiting beliefs. Underneath all behaviors are limiting beliefs. So it would tell you the pre-talk to give, the questions to ask, and the actual process that you do in session, and the words that you take them through. So it's every single issue that comes your way, there's a limiting belief that they're holding about that. If you've given them a quit smoking program and they haven't stopped smoking, that's because they're holding a belief that they haven't released yet. So there's a belief under everything. So you would use this with every single client that you've got. All right. So, and just another reminder before we go to Q&A is the 48-hour special for our next meetup, which is about the sneaky ego. So the sneaky ego wants us to stay in our head, and the sneaky ego wants us to not go to the heart, not to speak our truths, and then that's how we get sick. That's how we become overwhelmed, and that's how we block our natural manifesting abilities. So that link is in the chat too. And this is the time to awaken to who we really are and why we're here. So if you have got friends that you want to invite, I'm happy for them to come for the first time for free. All you need to do is email me. I'll give you the simplest email, helen@helenmidas.com, rather than the Heart Leader one, because that's the easy one to remember. So let's make this a movement where people are connecting to their heart in society, as opposed to staying here. We need to be compassionate, and magic happens when you're here. Absolute magic. Just yesterday, what's today? Yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? I can't recall. But ABC Radio called me to speak on their afternoon program, like randomly. That's where the magic happens. You know, I didn't organize that. I didn't even put it out there, but my family of light decided that that's what I needed to do. And the topic was homelessness, which is, I'm not an expert in it, but I started this community thing in Glenelg where I live, and the producer rings me up and gets me on the program. And that's how magic works. It just comes to you when you don't expect it. That's how manifesting happens. So we need to get out of our own way. We need to awaken to the truth of what's really going on. All right, so now I'm going to open up the floor, and feel free to ask any question that you would like to know. I'm here to support you. Who would like to go first? Melissa, sure. Unmute yourself, my love.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, thanks for all of that, and thanks to the participants. Quite close with Andrea, so we might have a chat after this. Yeah, I'm interested to know what sort of hypno scripts or tools or sessions that you do around this limiting belief work, and also particularly when someone has identified what the belief is, but really trying to clear that, if there's something that you can offer.
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
there's probably a lot in that course, but just something that we can take away with today.
Yeah, so in terms of limiting beliefs, no matter how much you talk to somebody, it's not going to actually remove it. Okay, we can do all the pre-talk we like, but what we need to do is we need to rerun the script. So we need to get clear as to where that came from. So if I had more time with Tony, with this belief that he had with money and time, I would have asked to find out when was the first time he was told that story? Somebody told him that story somehow. It could have been his parents, it could have been school teachers, it could have been someone somewhere has given him the belief that there is scarcity in time and money. And so we would go back to that event, and in hypnosis, we would learn from that event, and then we would change the script. But it's also the pre-talk and the post-talk surrounding all of that. So we would change the script in terms of releasing, first of all, the emotions that are there. Mm-hmm. Because with that event that occurred, which is that somehow we have learned this lesson that in Andrea's case, it was the same as mine, which is that we need to work. That's all part of our worth and our identity and all the rest of it. Who taught us that? Where did we learn that? And then we need to release the emotions with that, because there will be emotions. So we need to go deep to the first event. Where did we learn that from? What did we learn from that? And then what we need to do is apply those learnings to every time we held that belief from that point to this point. Because from that point to this point, there's 2 roads that we had every time, 2 roads. And every time we had a milestone event, we could have chosen one road, but instead we chose the other road because we held that belief. Now let's recreate that timeline and that movie with a new way of looking at things. Let's recreate that movie with the new belief, the new story. So all of that is in the course. So what's the new story? What's the new story from that event to this event? And it's really amazing. It's really amazing in terms of what, like, clients can't believe it. They can't believe that they actually even believed it, whatever it was that they believed. So I recall that I had this teenager that I did this with, and he said to me at the end of that, he said, I feel like I have been given the cheat code to life. I feel like everybody else doesn't have the advantage that I have now. And I went, oh, wow, what a way to look at it. Because for those of you who know, I didn't know, I had to find out that the cheat code, you know, if you're playing a video game, you can bypass levels and go to the next level. And so what the cheat code means is that you bypass the levels of life to get onto a higher level. And so for those of you who have done my HypnoFit system, this particular course, this is why it's such a much cheaper price. It's only for limiting beliefs, and it has been completely redone and improved to make it really, 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 really simple and beautiful for the client to experience. So does that answer your question in terms of what we actually do? So it's all about our, you know, that's how we release emotions, is through learnings. And it's not from us to say what the learnings are to the client. It's about the client connecting to their innermost wisdom, because they do have that wisdom. So that wisdom is theirs. And if any therapist thinks that they're going to teach their client something, that's the wrong place to start. So our job as therapists is to remove the blocks and facilitate the client's wisdom, because incredible wisdom. And so our job is for them to access their wisdom. It's not for us to give them our wisdom. Our wisdom is for us, and their wisdom is for theirs, for them. Okay. So does that make sense? Yeah. Did you have anything else on that, Melissa?
Sorry, no, that's good. It's all very interesting. Yeah, thank you.
You sound like you've got another question there, because it's very interesting. Sounds funny.
No, it's just I'm just linking it with the training that I've done and like seeing parallels and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'll take it with me what you said and bring it all together. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And everything is complementary. Everything is complementary. So if any teacher says this is the only way, there's a red flag there. Everything is complementary. Everything that you learn from all your teachers all complement you as a therapist, so that when you're in the situation, you might feel that this particular technique is relevant now, or another technique is relevant now, but all they can be blended in together beautifully. So there is never just this one right. So if any of you go and you have any training with any teachers that say this is the only way and every other way is crap, you really have to use discernment and know that that can't be true. There's always many paths to an outcome. Awesome. Who else has got a question? Yes, Tony.
This question's more for myself. Skip over it if you don't want to spend time on it. I'm curious about the TP and what happened there. What was the exercise? Or I'm doing a retreat in a TP this weekend in Melbourne North.
Okay. All right. Well, I can, because the answers are very long one, but I have recorded the answers on videos.
Yeah.
You can access them. So on my Eleni Heart Leader YouTube. So I've got 2 YouTubes. This one's the new YouTube, and the new YouTube is called Eleni Heart Leader.
Yep.
There's a playlist there that talks about my spiritual awakening. So have a look at all my playlists and you'll know which one it is.
Okay, great.
It talks about the progress, the process. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
No worries. Who else has got a question? That was easy. Yes, Megan.
Hey, Lenny, it's good to see you again. It's been a little bit.
Good to see you too,
Yeah.
my love.
Yeah,
So
I was glad to grab this time. I was like, it's been a bit to reconnect. So it's so much joy to connect with you and this lovely group. So just real quick, I have one client who really thinks in terms of colors and images and struggles hardcore to get conscious memories. And I've just rolled with it, and she's still getting wisdom and learning with everything being very metaphorical. So I roll with it and we get there, but I am curious about, she doesn't know when it was, always know when it was first entered into her timeline or things like that. So I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, so that's okay. You're saying that she's getting wisdom and learnings regardless, right?
It takes a lot longer. I mean, it takes a lot of creativity on my part to really roll with what comes up, but
Well, the thing is, she can also imagine, and by imagining, she's probably going to get it. So just imagine what it would be. That's what that's the word that I would
it's
use.
not so okay.
Yeah, because that as soon as you say the word imagine, that opens up the subconscious mind. So
Okay.
yeah, and really release the pressure by saying to her, like, it doesn't matter whether this is accurate or not, because the thing is, when we're working with the subconscious mind, we're working with a feeling. So it doesn't matter whether that feeling came on this date or on that date or where it started, the feeling is there. And that's what we're interested in. So just imagine, if you did know, imagine when it was, and she's probably going to hit it. So just really release the pressure off. It has to, you have to know an event. No, you don't have to know an event. Just imagine when that could have possibly been.
Okay. And I just trust, it's like wherever the subconscious takes you, that's where we're going to go. And
yeah.
Okay.
But this new technique of going to your most recent trigger is really awesome. It's really awesome because you get to some big insights immediately.
And we'll get the replay. I missed a portion just because I'm juggling here. So I'm counting on watching the replay. And was there, I thought I saw a manual that came with this or slides, but I couldn't access it. So I didn't know.
No, there were no slides or manual.
It must have been a different one. Okay.
Yeah.
Must have been something else then.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you, Megan. And who else have we got? Andrea.
Yeah, just a quick one. I'm interested in your view on what to do with clients when they've got a habit like nail biting in front of the TV, and they cannot identify the feeling that drives it because they don't know they're doing it. They feel perfectly relaxed because they think they do. They're watching TV. How do you tackle that when there's nothing to go on? There's no keywords. It's not like, oh, I smoke a cigarette because I get stressed before a meeting. That's supposedly when they're at their most relaxed. So what do you do in that situation?
I think the first thing with those sort of things is to make it okay. They have to make it okay, because there's judgment there as to why they're not now abiding, and there's probably shame there and guilt. So the first thing that I would connect to, first of all, is what's the emotion when they reflect upon the now biting? What's the emotion when they reflect upon the now biting? And then the now part, but remember that the now biting is a symptom. So whatever emotion they say, just say they say the emotion's guilt. Okay, like take them back to the point where they're watching TV and they're now biting, and then they've discovered that they've just bitten all their nails. Now what do they feel? That emotion. Now that emotion is the emotion we need to deal with. So we don't go back to the very first time they bit their nails. We go back to the very first time they felt that emotion. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you. There was just a little missing link there, and you've nailed it. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome, my love. Most welcome. Okay, somebody else had their hand up too. Somebody else had their hand up. It was Christine. Yay, Christine.
Hi. I just had a quick question about the training that you were talking about, and like the timeline and like going forward. Is that you were talking about when you were answering the question, the technique that you teach in this training?
Yep. And that is self-paced. That is self-paced training. So yeah.
Okay.
And you have the manual for that as well that you download. So yeah, that's what that is exactly.
Amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Did anybody else have a question? Megan. Yep.
Yeah, and I apologize if I missed you explaining it, Eleni, but how is the training that you're going to be offering different than the timeline with the HypnoFit system that I did with you already? Is it more condensed, or I'm just curious?
So, okay, let me explain it to you. So with this particular training,
I'm all about that. I'm always like it, but I'm just curious.
So with the HypnoFit training that you got the whole system, which is everything, okay? Right. What this is, I always felt a bit uncomfortable about the limiting beliefs aspect of it. Okay, so once
that feels a little clunky for me still, even in working with it.
Yes, that's it. That's what's completely streamlined. So in the system that you've got everything, all the emotions, you've got anxiety, you've got depression, you've got the whole lot. Limiting beliefs is one session. So this is the session. What you do from the moment you start it to the time you finish it, streamlined, so much easier. So this is what this is.
Okay. So is this going to be like a focus module set just on limiting beliefs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're so important. They're so important. And
well, I absolutely agree, because that's what the number one thing I deal with is, and I'm like, all right, I'm sorry, we need all these sessions first. And it sounds like I still need to do that. But I mean, I'll run into a limiting belief that prevents me from removing an emotion, and I have to deal with that limiting belief on its own before I can even touch releasing sadness. And so even with parts work.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So for those of you who don't know, Megan's done my HypnoFit system, which is the entire program. So which is available online, by the way, for anybody else as well. But anyway,
and it's really great, guys. Seriously.
It is.
I use it.
Yeah. And so with limiting beliefs, usually we wait until all the emotions get removed before we do limiting beliefs, because they start to drop off by themselves anyway, but there's always one or two that are hanging around. However, with what we have found, particularly with younger people like adolescents, the limiting, which is I think the situation you were talking about just then, the limiting belief is keeping them so stuck that they actually need that to have this, And that, so we can flip it. And in that situation, this would be the perfect session to use.
Okay. Cause I have, you know, I've come across that too much where I'm like, the limiting belief has to be addressed before I can touch the emotions. And I'm like, but it's supposed to go in a specific order.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah. And that's what that is.
That's helpful. And is the module, I mean, there's a link here. Will it come in the email for me to check out?
Yeah. So can you see
that?
Can you see, I'll just put it again.
I see it in the chat, but will it be in the email? I'm kind of.
Okay. I actually forgot to put it in the email, but we will put it in the email. Sarah,
Would that be possible with the replay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sarah, did you hear that? Sarah's the one who's going to do the email. So Sarah, let me know if you can hear. I hope you're watching, but I'll speak to Sarah straight after this so that we make sure that it's there.
That makes it a lot easier because the chat kind of disappears. And
yeah, but I have put it there to grab it anyway. Yay, Sarah says she will. So yeah, Sarah, that's the offer. That's a 48-hour offer, Sarah. So we just need to put that in the email. We weren't planning to, but thank you, Megan. We will.
Thank you. It makes it a lot easier for me because I don't think I'll get to it until tomorrow. So I want to make sure I don't miss that.
Yeah, no worries about that. Yeah, and it's a really incredible discount at 50%. So awesome. And was there any other questions with the people that are left? I know that we're 7 minutes over, but I just want to make sure that everybody's happy. If everybody is happy, then I want to thank you for coming here today and giving me your time and being that person that is ready to not only improve yourself and awaken to the truth of who you are, but to do that for others as well, because it's got to start with you. It has to start with you. We need to do these things for ourselves. We need to see ourselves. We need to be the observer of self. I hope you've loved it. And if you have loved it and you love this new series, please let people know, because we need to get this movement underway. People need to start opening their hearts, connecting to who they really are, and get this work done that we're here to do on the planet. So sending you so much love. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lenny. This is awesome.
Yay.